resume recording. And hi, Kim Powers. Hi, Jan. Thank you for my after birthday wishes. Karen, people already asking for the PowerPoint. No, Brenna, it's not through the normal Zoom address. It is a specific address for this event. Let me see if I can find invite. Let me see. Copy URL. I'll put it in the chat right here, the URL for this. There you go. That's what they need to get on this webinar. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so this is quite a topic, right? Would you guys agree with that? And it looks like I've frozen. What the heck? Okay. Let me see. Yeah, so if your screen is freezing, it's probably it's a high probability that it's your internet browser or your internet speed, Wi-Fi, etc. So I'm hoping that mine doesn't act up. It has in the past. You know what I'm going to do to offset this? A smart cookie. I am going to put on my hotspot, and that way my hotspot will take over. Actually, I'm gonna stop the share for just a minute and exit full screen. I'm going to put my Wi-Fi on my hotspot because, let's see, I just want to make sure that I don't lose you guys, because it's happened before. And to be perfectly honest, I think my powerful and better than my, come on. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to go back, share my screen again. Oh, this one right here. All right, here we go. We're back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with my presentation. And again, I appreciate all of you being here this morning. I know Saturdays aren't the best time, but what's interesting is when I did the poll, Saturdays won. It was really close for a Wednesday at 5 or a Saturday. So for future note, I might alternate those days and do some on Wednesdays and some on Saturdays. But let's talk about this controversial topic of Copaiba versus CBD. It seems to be all the rage, and I just want to put the information out there. I'm not going to be controversial, and I named this on purpose, Copaiba versus CBD. And I did that because versus, it actually means in the sporting context, which I think is where a lot of people use that terminology. They think of it from a sporting perspective. And in sports, it actually means against, right? When you're talking about something like this, I believe, this is the other version of versus, is it means as opposed to or in contrast to. That is my intent. Because in reality, Copaiba and CBD are nothing alike. It's a fact. And so I'm going to contrast them. And that's how Dr. Hill presented it when he presented. So that is my goal. My goal is not to be derogatory towards CBD, but to present the facts and explain the differences. And I hope that this is going to be helpful for you guys, okay? So let's move on here. And this isn't very long, which is very interesting. This little presentation's only got 17 slides. How cool is that? All right, so we're just going to jump right in, and we're going to get to talking about this. And these are some terms that are, you know, you don't know what they are, right? I've been doing some research on this, and so what I have, I'm actually going to read from my notes, and when I share the PowerPoint, what I have in my notes will actually be in there, so you'll be able to see where I've got this from. But what is endocannabinoid, CB1, CB2? What is all this stuff and what is the difference, right? So what I found is the endocannabinoid, or ECS, is a biological system composed of endocannabinoids. Okay, great. What are they? Endocannabinoids are endogenous, lipid-based, retrograde neurotransmitters that bind to cannabinoid receptors, central nervous system, including the brain, and peripheral nervous system. The endocannabinoid system is involved in regulating a variety of physiological and cognitive complexes and processes, including fertility, pregnancy, during pre- and postnatal development, appetite, pain sensation, mood, memory, and in mediating the pharmacologic effects of cannabis. Okay? The ECS, endocannabinoid system, is also involved in mediating some of the physiological and cognitive effects of voluntary physical exercise in humans and other animals, such as contributing to exercise-induced euphoria, as well as modulating locomotor activity and motivational salience for rewards. All of that to say, the endocannabinoid system is the place in our brain, okay? So when you're talking about the neurological, it's the place in our brain where we get that runner's high or the exercise high. I don't get that. And so then I wonder if like CBD would actually work on someone like me, or marijuana or whatever, how it would work. But that is what the ECS is. The endocannabinoid system is in our body, okay? And so the endocannabinoid system is therefore triggered by cannabinoids. And the cannabinoids are found in plants. It's that simple. We don't have to make it so complicated as this explanation, but it modulates and mediates the things in our neurological system, right? Including our brain. But it's also found all over our body. The CB2 receptors are found distributed throughout our body, and the greatest concentration of CB2 receptors is found in our immune system. Okay? So what's the difference between CB1 and CB2? Because these are the two receptors that are found in our body, okay? They do different things, right? The CB1 receptors are the brain, the nervous system, and the neurologic system, okay? So CB1. The CB2 receptors are in the brain also, the neurological system, but they also include the respiratory and the skeletal systems. Does that make sense? So here's one of the difference, okay? The difference between CB1 and CB2, and Dr. Hill used this, and I thought it was so perfectly describing the difference between CB1 and CB2. CB1 are the receptors in your brain that make you not care that you have pain. Okay, so think about that in regard to use of CBD or use of psychoactive substances. And think of that in regards to when a woman delivers a child during childbirth, we release hormones that help us forget about the pain, right? And it's the same thing as when you exercise, right? And it's painful. It's what keeps runners and marathon people and rock climbers and, you know, Olympic athletes going, because the CB1 receptors fire and they get triggered to not care about the pain, okay? So it's actually the same thing that happens when we take Advil or Tylenol, right? It triggers those CB1 receptors so we don't care about the pain. All right, that's the difference, okay? The CB2 modulates the acute and chronic pain caused by inflammation, in that it actually improves the inflammatory response in the body, which we know as pain. The inflammation in our body is what causes us to feel the pain. Okay, so the difference between the CB1 then and the CB2 is the CB1, we don't care that we have the pain. CB2 actually goes to work and helps our body fight the inflammation that's actually causing the pain. Got it? That's the difference. That's all you need to know to be able to explain this for real, okay? So let's go on to the next slide. All right, cannabinoids, as I said earlier, are found in plants. And there are three main cannabinoids that are found in plants. They're not found in all plants, they're found in some plants, okay? So CBD, cannabidiol, is found primarily in hemp and marijuana, okay? The thing you need to know about this is that it does not react on the CB2 receptors. CBD reacts primarily on the CB2 receptors and not on the CB1. And CBD is present in low quantities or not at all. Okay, so it's a very low, it's very low. The cannabidiol is a very low priority of presence in the chemistry of the plants. Okay, so I'm just talking about what the differences are here. And it doesn't react on the CB2 receptors. Cannabidiol does not. CBD does not react on the CB2 receptors. THC, the tetrahydrocannabinol, is another part of the cannabinoid found in the plant, and this one interacts with both CB1 and CB2 receptors, okay? The THC is the psychoactive element that stimulates the psychoactive effects in our brain, okay? So that's what the THC part does. The THC is the element which makes CBD oil illegal on the federal level. There are some states where it's legal, right? It's legal in lots of places, but as far as our federal government concerned, it's illegal. The other issue is that it reacts directly on the CB1 and the CB2 receptors, and in the way that it reacts is that it helps us not care about the pain, okay? Got that? The BCP, the beta-caryophyllene, is the third cannabinoid that we get from plants, okay? And it's present in lots of plants. It's present in pepper, it's present in ylang ylang, and it's present in copaiba. All right, there you go. So it's not just copaiba that contains beta-caryophyllene. It's present in a lot of plants. It has no CB1 interaction whatsoever. So it does not interact on the CB1 part of the brain, okay? It actually has a direct interaction with CB2, and yet it has the same benefits as the other cannabinoids. It's found in very high therapeutic amounts in plants, the ones that I just told you, and it's very highly found in our beloved copaiba, right? So I hope that that made sense, trying to differentiate and separate between the three. All right, so now that we've got the chemistry part of it down, let's talk about what actually is CBD oil, okay? Well, the first thing we need to know is that it's not an essential oil. It's an isolate, okay? So what is an isolate? It's an isolate of the hemp and marijuana plant. An isolate, when you isolate something in a plant, you're obtaining an extract of a compound in a pure form. So another example of an isolate would be vitamin C coming from oranges or from citrus. When we take vitamin C as a supplement, that is an isolate from orange, okay? So it's obtained in the same way. So they use chemicals to isolate the component of CBD, the cannabidiol, right? The thing that's the problem is that there isn't any regulation about CBD, okay? So it's probably and very possibly adulterated. The difference between doTERRA and our essential oils and CBD everything else is that we have strict guidelines and standards about how we obtain our essential oils. And before we bottle them, they go through a great amount of testing. And I'm going to touch on that as we go a little bit further in here. But I just want to help you understand the way that they isolate CBD is synthetically. So there is a high probability that you're going to get some contaminants in that, in the CBD, okay? The other thing is that when it's synthetically isolated, and I would question you to know, how do you know that the CBD has been synthetically isolated or not? There are ways they can do it naturally, but it's very expensive, okay? So when the CBD is synthetically isolated, it's going to serve as an antagonist to our cells. So it's no different than big pharma, right? Pharmacology is synthetic, and our cells don't respond in the way that they should, and they actually respond in an antagonistic way. So you're losing the benefit of what you're trying to do in the first place, right? Right. So CBD. So CBD, the cannabidiol, is the isolate from the hemp or marijuana plant, and it's possibly adulterated, and it probably contains high levels of THC, and it's possibly synthetically isolated, and it's an antagonist to our cells, and it's not an essential oil, okay? So that's the thing. We can't compare it because CBD is not an essential oil, it's an isolate, right? And our essential oils are essential oils. Copaiba is an essential oil. All right, so let's talk about this. I need a little drink of water first. Okay, so here's the thing, right? This is something that Dr. Hill stated, and I recorded it, and I might have myself recorded on there with a whoop, right? I was so happy to hear this, okay? Here's the thing, and this is where I stand on this, all right? It's not that we don't believe that people are having amazing results from using CBD oil, okay? That's not the problem. It's not that we don't believe that people are having results, right? They very well may be. I mean, there is lots of research out there about how marijuana is so useful for people who are suffering tragic chronic illness, right? And I'm not debating that. I'm not saying that that's not true. But here's the thing. It's an entirely different ballgame, this CBD stuff, when it comes to regulatory and legal challenges, okay? And those of you who know me, okay, so here's the thing. I am a very rigid person when it comes to the rules. And that's who I am, and I'm never gonna change. I've always been this way, right? So I can't back CBD or support it in any way. This girl has never smoked marijuana, never have, never will. And it's just me, that's just who I am. And I'm not passing judgment on anybody else. It's a free world, right? We're able to have our own opinions and do what we want to do. But what I'm saying is, for me personally, from a legalistic and from a regulatory stance, I won't promote it or support it or say anything good about it. But that's just me, okay? So here's the thing, doTERRA has the same stance. And so this was another place in Dr. Hill's presentation where I can hear myself on my recording, and I just let out a big, you know, woohoo! I stand behind doTERRA, okay? I am a doTERRA gal 100% head to toe all day, every day, and it's never gonna stop, and it's never gonna change. And so when I say that, I'm not going to have one toe in and say, yes, 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 doTERRA, and then say, yeah, but you know, CBD too. No, I won't go there. And that's my choice. And I'm sorry if that's not your choice and your stance, but I hope that we're adults enough that we can stand together and say, I respect your choice and I respect yours, right? Because that's how I was raised too. And that's who I am. I love everybody. I love everybody. And we're adults and we're entitled to our own choices and our own stances on things. So the bottom line, this is what Dr. Hill said, is CBD flies in the face of what we do at doTERRA and what we represent, okay? And I'm gonna go into that in even more detail here very shortly. All right, but I want to keep going with this. This is good. This is good stuff, you guys. Okay, so these are screenshots that I took from Dr. Hill's presentation. This is a Time magazine article, and you can go Google it and you'll find it, from March 12th of 2019. So it was from this month. And this is what they are saying, all right? The research suggests that much of the CBD in the market could be snake oil. In other words, nobody's doing testing on this. And if they say they are, we question that, because if they were really doing the testing, it would be very, very expensive, right? The CBD available in shops and online is not regulated. Okay, so I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna say, well, doTERRA's essential oils aren't regulated either. But you know what? We as a company regulate that, right? We have very strict guidelines and standards. 54 different levels of testing happen to every single batch of oil that comes in. So we know that what we are bottling and providing as you know, health and wellness is the real deal. Okay, with the CBD, we just don't know. And then CBD oil is everywhere, but is it really safe and healthy? That was the title of the article. So if you want to research it, I encourage you to go do this. So that is a problem for me, right? I am a health-oriented person, and I want to be absolutely positive that what goes in my body, what goes on my body is healthy. And I really do try that. So this slide cracked me up, all right? So like Dr. Hill says, CBD is everywhere. This one is the funniest, the mascara. Look, over here on the left, mascara. Why do you need CBD in your mascara? I mean, come on, really? It's in dog food, it's in treats, it's in supplements, it's in fizzy bath bombs, it's in energy drinks, and it's kind of scary when you think about it. Where is it coming from? Where's the regulatory side of this, right? So it's everywhere. It is everywhere, but buyer beware. Again, buyer beware. It's just like our essential oils. I teach the same thing when I'm talking to folks about essential oils. Buyer beware. Don't buy frankincense from Walmart for $6.99. It's not the thing, right? It's probably a synthetic. It's a high probability that it's a synthetic, right? So one of the other things that we learned at leadership was that they're doing a lot of testing, not just on our oils. The APRC is actually doing testing on everybody's oils, okay? And they've done extensive testing, and to this point, there are 3 oil companies who have pure oils. This one that's on the screen right here is not one of them. Wow, right? And the other thing you need to know is that the other 2, besides doTERRA, doTERRA is one of them, but the other 2 are actually very small market mom and pops essential oil companies, and their oils are very expensive. I think they said something like their frankincense was $350 an ounce because they don't have what we have, right? So this is a problem, right? So this is actually a question that some leaders in the company have asked. Why isn't doTERRA going there? Why aren't we providing, you know, lemon lime CBD infused oils? Well, the first thing that Dr. Hill wanted us to notice was what the milligrams are in this picture. So you can just barely see it, 1500 mg, okay? That's the lemon lime one. The second one is that they are in direct competition with their network marketers, their customers and their builders, because this has no PV. So are you really going to promote this and sell this if it doesn't have any PV? I mean, that's not even fair. So who's making the money here? Who's banking all the money, right? It makes you question the ethics. It's a problem, all right? So this is kind of amusing, I think. So now we're going to do the comparison, okay? So again, it's versus, it's compare and contrast. And then as a grown adult, we get to make choices about what we put in our body and what we put on our body, okay? So this is why I will not use CBD oil. It goes again, it flies in the face of everything that I represent and it flies in the face of everything that doTERRA represents. So here's the thing. In addition to all of this that I've already told you, CBD would be a regulatory nightmare for us as a company because of our size. Because of doTERRA's size, we are a $2 billion company, and they predict in the next 10 years that we're going to be a $20 billion company. Because of our sheer size, that would present a regulatory issue for us, right? So that just doesn't even make sense. And our corporate executives, the executive team, are not going to jeopardize the well-being and the safety as well as the financial stability of what we have going on. That is how serious they are about ethics and morals, right? So the comparison is that CBD oil is an isolate, an isolated molecule of hemp plant, okay? It has an indirect receptor activation. This is Dr. Hill language, which is very complicated. There are inconsistent dosages all over the place, and I'll go into that in just a second. There is limited science behind this. He did research, and he could only come up with 2 or 3 studies that even said that any of this actually made any sense and that it was actually effective. Because remember, it's hitting the CB1 receptors, okay? And as well, it's a regulatory challenge for doTERRA. So then you compare it with our beloved Copaiba, and we use the complete plant chemistry, right? It's a complete essential oil. It's not an isolate from the plant. You get that? The isolate is a teeny tiny little molecule out of it, and we use the complete essential oil. It has direct receptor activation, so it goes directly into the CB1 and CB2 receptors, and it has reasonable dosing, and there's the next slide, I believe, is going to go into the dosing. This part is amazing, you guys. This was one of the other places that I was like, woo, because we are coming out with dosing. This is a big deal, right? We are going to have very specific guidelines. And as well, there are more than 1,000 published studies and research backing Copaiba and the properties and how it works in our body, okay? So this is amazing. And again, one of the many reasons that I love doTERRA is that they are not going to jeopardize what we have going on as a company. You know, they take it very, very seriously. There are thousands of people that rely on doTERRA as their primary source of income. And there are even millions of people who rely on doTERRA to provide good health. Do you think they're going to throw that out the window to go with CBD? Heck no, no way. And that is one of the reasons that I respect this company. So much goodness. All right, so let's talk about this. Recent studies. Another study in 2011 showed that CBD seemed to ease anxiety by administering a single dose of 600 milligrams. Okay, so this is where he started talking about the dosing. All right, there's another study out there that says, no, you need like 1,200 milligrams. So it's inconsistent across the board. There's no consistency at all. There's no studies. There's very little research. And we really don't know enough about it to make any of these claims, right? Whereas you compare with Copaiba, okay? So he put Copaiba up here, and then he started talking about dosages. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what's coming, you guys. This is what is in our future, and this is so stinking exciting. So besides the CBD and the Copaiba and all that versus stuff, whatever, this is exciting because he told us that 1 drop is equal to about 45 milligrams, okay? So you do some math, and the Copaiba dosages, look at this, and 200 milligrams would be 4 drops, okay? 100 milligrams would be about 2 drops. 50 milligrams is about 1 drop. 25 milligrams is about a half a drop-ish. 5 milligrams, look at this. And he laughed at this, attenuated debilitating discomfort. That's pain, right? That would be acute pain. He said, I forgot that I could be non-compliant in this. So this is exciting stuff, all right? And so one of the things that I want to make sure that you guys understand, and I probably should have put it on this slide, hindsight, is that Dr. Hill's recommended dosage for all oil use, for every oil that we have, so his recommended dosage for oil use is 2 to 3 drops every 4 to 6 hours when we are just beginning to use oils. Because you know what? Your body, it takes a little time to get used to it. If your body's used to having synthetics, and a lot of people have, you know, a little difficulty. They might get a skin reaction. You know, it's a real thing. And so that's why they're coming out with these dosages. It's amazing. It's so stinking exciting. So keep in mind that 1 drop of essential oil is about 45 milligrams, right? And so his recommended dosage is 2 to 3 drops every 4 to 6 hours. So if you think 2 drops, that's about 90 milligrams. So you need to use way less essential oil than you do this other stuff. They're talking about a single dose of 600 milligrams. So I'm not great at math. Let me see, 50. So that would be like 30 drops? Wait, is that right? Someone help me with math. 600 milligrams divided by 45. I don't know how many drops that is, but that would be a lot. If you use that much essential oil, you might have a problem, right? I'm pretty positive you'd have some digestive issues coming out the other side, like Russ and I had when we caught our little tummy virus last week. So anyway, so just think about that, right? Do the comparison and remember that that other little bottle had 1,500 milligrams per dose was what they're claiming. That's kind of scary. And so this is the other reason that doTERRA is not going to go there. We're just not, right? We've got CPTG, CPTG, CPTG. We have certified pure therapeutic grade, right? doTERRA has done the research. We have the studies. We have the documentation. This is amazing. And CBD doesn't have this, right? And it does not meet our standards. So here's a problem, right? If doTERRA decided tomorrow, oh, come on, did I freeze? If doTERRA decided tomorrow to come out with CBD oil, after we've been, you know, promoting CPTG and saying pure, 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 and research, 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 and we came out with CBD oil, that would be a nightmare for us because it doesn't show who we are, right? It flies in the face of who we represent ourselves to be at doTERRA. It does not meet our CPTG standards. It's got analytical challenges. There are biological and efficacy challenges, as well as regulatory challenges, okay? So we aren't doing it. It's not happening, and there's good reason for that. Oh, goody. Does somebody help me out here? One of my chats. Will you please define CPTG? It's not all synthetic, is it? Well, we don't know. The thing is, they're not doing the testing on it. They can't. They just don't have the money and the technology to do it. These companies that are putting it out there, how do you know that it's 100% pure? You don't. And these companies are fly by night, right? They're popping up all over the place. We don't know if it's all synthetic. We don't know. And I'm not going to take that risk. Why would you take that risk when we have something that will do more than what CBD oil promotes to do, right? CPTG is certified pure therapeutic grade. And so this is the standard by which doTERRA uses as a guideline. This is our standardization process. So certified pure therapeutic grade means that it is the most tested and the most trusted. It has gone through 54 levels of testing to ensure that it is pure and quality. And that's what CPTG stands for. 600 divided by 45 is 13. Okay, so that would mean that they're telling you to take 13 drops of CPTG oil, and you don't know if it's for real, right? It could be synthetic. It's really easy to create synthetics on the market. It really is. And so you just don't know. That's the problem. And that's the regulatory challenge right there, right? And because of the legality of it, doTERRA won't go there. So if, I'm freezing up again. Come on, make it through. We're almost done. So if doTERRA did decide to do CBD, and if they went through and did all the laboratory testing and all of that with it, it would be a regulatory challenge for us because it's not legal. It flies against federal regulations. So that's one of the reasons. That's part of the problem, right? So thank you for the math, and thank you for the good questions. You guys are awesome. All right, let's see here. So let's talk about Copaiba. What makes our Copaiba so freaking special is it's a blend of 4 species. And so each one of those species, and I am not going to try to pronounce them, no way, but each one of those species brings with it its own special chemistry. So this is what makes our Copaiba so potent. It's a unique blend. It has more efficacy because of the chemistry. So that is why Copaiba, and that is why doTERRA Copaiba, because ours is amazing. And some people call it Copaiba. I guess that's how you pronounce it in Brazil. So if we want to be Brazilian, it's Copaiba. I say Copaiba because, you know, I'm not Brazilian. All right, so let's talk about Copaiba. What makes it so special? First of all, it's the tree. The tree that we get the resin from for Copaiba can live up to 400 years old, and it can grow to be 100 feet tall. That's pretty amazing. And so it has these amazing qualities. It comes as, it's a liquid. The resin comes as in the form of a liquid. So think like maple syrup out of trees, out of maple trees, right? So it's a resin. And this is really interesting. I did not know this, that some essential oil companies have Copaiba as one of their oils, and they're actually selling the resin as an oil and not doTERRA, because we go the extra mile, right? So we yield and extract our species of essential oil from the resin. And from that resin, we yield between 40 and 70% pure, potent, effective essential oil. Very interesting, right? So that again is another difference between doTERRA and the other companies. The other companies are just taking the oil out of the tree and putting it in the bottle and selling it, right? Not at doTERRA. We actually extract, which is another step. It's another complicated step, but we go the extra mile to make sure that what we are getting is not full of, who knows, all sorts of particulates and contaminants, right? So we get the essential oil from the resin itself, all right? I thought that was a really cool factoid. All right, so here's another one. And I don't use this term very often, sesquiterpene. Frankincense is high in sesquiterpenes. Sandalwood is high in sesquiterpenes. Copaiba oil is 98% sesquiterpenes. Holy moly, super, super cool. So does extracting the oil from the tree hurt the tree? That's a great question. It does not. When they extract the oil, it's just like a maple tree. So they drill a little hole and they allow the resin to drain out of that little hole in the tree, just like maple syrup. And they can go back to the trees over and over and over again, because this is what they produce on the inside of the tree, is this beautiful resin. So it's very similar to maple extraction. And I think that they probably rest the trees and then go back and do it again. I haven't been on a sourcing trip, but I would love to go on a sourcing trip to Brazil and witness how they do this. Some of the important blues and presidentials have already gone. I saw that Rod Richardson did a little post about that. And so, no, it does not harm the tree, all right? So the sesquiterpenes, let's talk about that. Sandalwood, frankincense are also very high in sesquiterpenes. But it has a very synergistic effect in our body. And so when you use Copaiba, what they find, and this is Dr. Hill terminology again, acute reduction in the microglial, neutrophil, and macrophage activity. And I have this in here, that the neutrophilic activity releases oxygen into our bloodstream, which then chases down the free radicals and helps our body deal with oxidation. Oxidation is what causes the inflammatory response in our body. So I hope that helps a little bit. So that second little one there, that's what that's about. Let's talk about the sesquiterpenes. The sesquiterpenes are the compounds that are very present in copaiba, sandalwood, and frankincense that are known for their calming properties. And they can also be supportive to our immune system in protecting us from harmful microbes. I looked this up. This is from Webster Dictionary. It acts as an antioxidant and assists in cellular repair. That is what sesquiterpenes do, okay? All of those things, sign me up, I want all of them. Furthermore, there is some evidence that these constituents are able to cross the blood-brain barrier and assist with neurologic health. That's your copaiba right there. That's what it does. How powerful is that? It's just amazing. So, so amazing. It's such a beautiful, amazing essential oil. So why on earth would you not use copaiba and instead risk the unknown factors using CBD oil? It's beyond me. But you know, it's personal choice and I don't judge. You can do whatever you want to. But me and my family, we will do copaiba every day, all day long. Speaking of every day, all day long, CBD, oh my goodness. Copaiba is an everyday essential oil. It is an essential oil that you should be using every single day. Think frankincense. It's very similar. Lots of sesquiterpenes. And sesquiterpenes, I just told you what they do, right? So the beta-caryophyllene in copaiba has strong protection against oxidative stress. And I just went through that, right? Oxidation in our body is like rust in a car. The oxidation slowly produces inflammation in our body, and inflammation, as we know, can cause disease in our body and pain, right? It's probably the main factor in pain in our bodies. So if we go after the oxidative stress that's causing the inflammation, that's causing the pain, if we go after it directly using copaiba, we are going to be better and healthier for it, right? The neutrophilic response, this is the fancy words here. The neutrophilic response of copaiba, when used every day, releases oxygen to battle the free radicals and fight off the inflammatory response that is the result of pain and disease in our body. Isn't that amazing? It's so cool. So, you know, people, we are, like I said, we are grown people, we're adults. We have free will, we live in the United States of America, we have freedom, we have choices, we can do whatever we want. But I just want to encourage you to choose copaiba. Choose doTERRA's copaiba because of all the things I just told you, right? There's unknown factors and there's known factors. I'm going with the known factors, all right? I have one more slide because we didn't go here. So what is it that copaiba actually really does in our body when we take a drop under our tongue every single day? It is a liver and antioxidant support, okay? So it directly supports your liver, and your liver is one of your filtering organs. When your liver fails, guess what? You're not gonna survive very long. So it's a liver and antioxidant support. It provides cardiovascular support. It provides immune system support. It provides respiratory system support. It supports your digestive system. It's known to reduce pain, reduce inflammation, and it protects our cells from the hazards of everyday living, right? So why not copaiba? Why not? Let's do copaiba. Let's do more. More. All right. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Does anyone have any questions that you, I mean, obviously you've put some in the chat and I really appreciate that. And I hope I answered them. If I didn't and you want more information, you can send me an email at char@charleneabrown.com. You can actually go to charleneabrown.com and I have events there that are coming up. Every week I add more and new events, so you want to go back regularly. You can also sign up on my contact page to get registered for our newsletter. And the other thing that you need to know is that with our Healthy Habits tours, which will be starting next month, There's actually one in Colorado Springs. I know there's a lot of Colorado people on here. I know that there are going to be some in South Dakota. And so with our Healthy Habits tour, when you come to the event and you purchase one of the Healthy Habits kits that's coming up available in April, you're going to receive a free bottle of Copaiba from doTERRA at the event. It's a big deal. This is really cool. And so I just want to encourage you guys, if you're not familiar with it, purchase it, add it to your LRP, and use it because it's so, so, so good. It's all things good. There's just nothing bad that you can say about Copaiba. All right, so let me see. Oh, thank you, Darcy. I appreciate that. Oh my gosh, I appreciate your input so much. Thank you, Jan. I appreciate your input also. And thank you guys all for joining me. I just, like I said, this is my happy place, by the way, doing what I'm doing right here. And this girl's going to be doing a whole lot more of it because this is what I enjoy. So let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm happy. I will go wherever you want me to go with it. So send me messages. Let me know what you want me to cover, and I'll just create a bunch of PowerPoints and webinars, and let me know. Let me see. What are the chances of Copaiba being put in a soft gel? It is in a soft gel. It is already in a soft gel. And so here's a little tidbit for you. I'm going to stop the recording because I'm going to be naughty for a second. Let me see. Pause.